Okay, welcome everybody to book two, session 27. Book two is quite a bit shorter, so we can get through it pretty quickly. Don't know how many sessions are in book two, actually. Let me see. 50. We go from 27 to 50 in book two. And before we get started, let's draw a card from the Doors deck, the Doors of Energy. Okay. This one is a green, looks like green gate being opened. Here. And it says, a note on love, seeking different seasons and center into the unknown. When love is the focus, foundation, and goal, blessed the body, mind, and soul. Oof. Another good one. Okay. Let me see here. We actually have a few things before we get started into the session. I want to go over some definitions first before we get started. And I posted on my Instagram a while ago about the seal of alchemy. I want to talk about this for a bit. This is usually in the advanced session, but can you guys see that? There we go. Ooh, there we go. That symbol, it's also called the Philosopher's Stone. So we have a circle in the center, and around it is a square. Let me get a little closer. Around it is a square, and then we have a triangle, and then another circle. So this is basically the symbol of the entire universe and how it operates, condensed into this one symbol. So alchemy, people that were studying alchemy, they had secrets to the universe, and they were so valuable. And so it was knowledge that needed to be protected. And so they symbolized it in many symbols. That's why there's so much symbolism in alchemy. And I just did this one. This is the basic symbolism 101. I always get necklaces of a lot of things just because it's easier, and I like wearing necklaces. So, and then there's this necklace that I got, which is just basically the 4 elements. And again, the circles is what we're going to first talk about intelligent infinity. So this is just the 4 elements. So at the top we have fire, then we have, if you can see it, a triangle with a line going through it is wind. We have infinity symbol, and then we have the earth, which is a triangle with a line going through it, upside down triangle with a line going through it pointing down. And then we just have the upside down triangle at the very bottom, which is the symbol for water. So very basic stuff. So if you guys are new to symbolism, you want to start by studying the 4 elements, the symbols of the 4 elements. And when you start learning symbolism, you know, even when you're reading like tarot decks and things like that, you'll start to see the symbols and you'll know exactly what it means, because each zodiac sign has an element assigned to it. Like I'm a Libra, and wind is our element, you know. So starting to, you know, get your knowledge broad amongst these things helps you to get an understanding and the origins of things. And it's just part of I think it's just part of the spiritual journey when you learn symbolism. So let's talk about the seal of alchemy here. There we go. The seal of alchemy. So let's start with the center. It's the same center that was in the other necklace. When you see a circle, that is like a circle of intelligent infinity, which is unity. It's the potential of all energy. It's the void of everything represented into just one symbol, right? Everything has potential to be anything of a frequency. And what makes it into something is the activation of thought, which is the square that is around that circle is representing thought, right? Because we think about how we can manifest anything through thought and how we can change our frequency and environment of thoughts. Thoughts are not just things that can just dissipate into the void. Thoughts are things. Thoughts create. Thoughts can turn seemingly nothing, the void, into something. And once you activate it through the energy of the universe, which is the triangle in that, it manifests itself, right? Through its energy. And then the outer circle is experiencing what you have created. So if you have a void and of all potential, let's do something very simple. Let's say, just as an example, just because I just looked up here and I saw one of my things on my shelf. It's a tree. It's this Himalayan salt tree. So say we want to manifest a tree, right? Now don't think about, well, we need a seed, we need to give it water, we need it to grow, we need all things. Okay, fine. It's going to do all that, but first you have to have the thought that you want to create a tree, right? Is leave it to the universe to activate it through energy to create that tree, right? And watch it manifest itself. Now, once that happens, what's going to happen is the same consciousness that thought to create that tree now experiences what it is to be that tree. So this is the cycle of how the universe operates. It can create anything out of the void through thought, and then the completion process is experiencing its own creation. Okay, and so this is also what the three distortions are. We went over that, right? The three things that ever happened first in the universe kind of gets symbolized in the alchemy symbolism. So I wanted to go over that. Sit with that for a bit and just keep going back to it. And the more as we go through these books, you'll have a more and more understanding of it. Another thing I just want to go over is free will again. I really want to how everyone, because you're going to hear free will all the time in these books. And when Ra says, when the questioners are done, ask Ra a question, because they want to know the answer, obviously, right? And Ra will not give it to them because it'll break free will. And that can be kind of confusing. It's like, well, wait a minute, how is it breaking free will if I'm asking for it, right? Because we think of free will as like someone breaking our free will is like kidnapping us and putting us in a basement or something, against holding us against our will. That's breaking our free will. We have the right to choose things as our free will. But that is not what we're talking about when we're talking about free will with the law of one. What free will is in the law of one is the I am, the unique set of frequencies that makes you, right? And it cannot be broken. So if you think about yourself as being such a unique set of frequencies that all your lifetimes, everything that's ever happened to you, every thought that you've ever had, not just in this lifetime, but in all lifetimes previous to this, ends up making you a complex set of frequencies that makes you. It is your ultimate I am. Okay, so when we say free will was the first distortion, it's because it was the first thought that knew something existed, and it was called free will. Now, the way that you don't break free will is, say you do kidnap someone and put them in a basement and like torture them until they say 2 + 2 = 5. And you can say, well, that broke their free will, but it didn't, because they don't believe. Don't matter how much you torture someone or do things, you're never going to be able to get someone to believe about who they are, knowing that 2 + 2 = 4. They might say 5. They might do things like that all day long. They might even be brainwashed, but their I am self knows that not to be true. So that's why it can't be broken. And the reason why Ra will not tell something, because it says it's going to break their free will, is because Ra is in a unique position to actually get someone to change who they are and what they have thought, right? So if Ra says, they were in a position where if Ra told them that 2 + 2 = 5, they might actually believe it because Ra was being put in that position. Okay, so think of it that way, where there's other things that can distort your journey of who you are that you set forth. That gets protected, and it's about not changing the set of frequencies that are you. So I just want to go over free will again. And we do talk about, love being the great activator. I will be look out for the video for in the school for when we just go over the definitions of each density and each dimension. Because when we say fourth dimension and fifth dimension, sometimes you get lost in the weeds a little bit about what that is. And we know we're going towards it, but what does that mean to be in the fourth dimension? How is it different? So there's a mathematical explanation for it, which is the dimension, and there's also the frequency of it, the density of it, you know. So we won't go over that in this session because otherwise it'll probably be like a 2-hour lesson. So I just want to say that to keep your eye open. I'll probably send an email to everybody once I finish creating the class for that. And we want to talk about, when we talk about the seal of alchemy and the void gets activated through thought, when we're going back to this symbol, well, when light we have the potential of nothingness and then light gets created. Well, how does everything get created through light? How is everything light? You've heard that before. Everything is just frequency, and it all started with light. Well, we're starting to understand the as we go through the densities from 1 through 8, right? And 8 being the fold into the first one again. What happens when you put a beam of light through a prism and you get all the colors of the rainbow, right? You get the red, the orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? You get them all. And if each one of those can be condensed into a density activated through thought, you can create universes, right? So that's how powerful it was when light was created. And it was created through love, which is the activator of all potential. It's the first frequency that ever existed. And so these are the fundamental 101 ground base everything about what we're about to dive into for an understanding of how the architecture of our spiritual universe was created and how it functions. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit because that's what basically all of book 2 is about. Okay, about the architecture of it all and how it works. So we did a lot of history in book 1, which is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to just learn about Atlantis and the Egyptians and Lemuria and things like that. But in book 2, we're gonna get into it about really an understanding of how things work. So hope I didn't ramble on too long there. That was not a squirrel moment. That I stayed on topic. But let's get started here. So thank you so much for watching, guys. That was the introduction of the deep dive class for session 27 of book 2. If you want to watch the full deep dive session, head over to the online school for the Love and Light program of $25 a month. You get the first 7 days free, and I'll see you guys there.